Hey guys, welcome back to another RC video on this channel. Believe it or not, this is not a real boat. This is remote control. Each year we go to a show called Run to the Sun in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And other than it being a really good car show that we go to, you know we gotta look at Facebook Marketplace the whole weekend. And this is one of those things that popped up. So if you've never seen one of these before, this is a boat that Harbor Freight sold for a while. My first experience with one of these is there's gonna be 3 people that remember this. And actually, that may be a lie. I doubt any of them are still around, but early on in this channel, there is a Tyco Riptide up here above the shelf. Right there, actually. And I bought that thing at a yard sale, and I was like, I'm going to put a jet pump in this sucker. It never worked out. You know, it's kind of more of a shelf piece now because I couldn't ever get it to leak or stop leaking. Yeah, I got it to leak. It just wouldn't stop leaking. And the video I watched of a guy doing that was on one of these, which is a Neptune speedboat. It doesn't say Neptune anywhere on the box, but it says right here in the boat. I watched a guy put a jet pump in one of these. I'm not planning on doing that. His is pretty cool, but I don't care anything about doing that. And since I found that video, I've been looking for one of these for a while. They are out there, but it just so happened that this was the cheapest one I could find. I paid $15 for this, and I think originally you can get it on sale for I think you can get it on sale most of the time for $50. The guy's house we bought this from was directly behind a lake, or I don't think you consider it. It's a pond. It was directly in front of a pond. You know, he could walk out his back door and use this. This doesn't look like it's been used very much at all. The transmitter still powers up, but it's got Toys R Us batteries in it. And I think those have been gone. Toys R Us has been gone for a while. Oh, I didn't even show you the cool thing about this. I guess this guy had it shipped to his Harbor Freight, because here's the information for his Harbor Freight there in Surfside Beach. By the way, Surfside Beach, there's a really nice burger place there. I'm not going to tell you what it's called, but there's a really good burger place there. I didn't even think to check that. Because I just imagined that the battery was dead because it was left in the boat. The sucker just powered on. The plan for this video was to convert this to a LiPo, which I'm still going to do, and go out and run it. But that nickel monohydride in there still has some life left in it, I guess. Then you can see, I ain't got the biggest hands in the world, but they're not small. You can kind of judge that. This is a pretty good sized boat. It's actually a good looking boat. But what I began to say earlier is I don't think this has ran very much at all, just because it's just in good shape, I think. Fun fact about when I went to pick this up, I messaged the guy on, I see how watertight that is. It's got these little vents right here. They're actual vents, so if you flip this thing over, you better go get it. I don't think it's going to have enough battery, enough juice in it to flip over, but it might. I messaged the guy on Marketplace asking if I can come get it, and he viewed the message, but he never responded to me. I messaged him 2 or 3 times after that, never did. So my dad messaged him, and he responded instantly, and we went and bought it. So I don't know what to do with that is. I don't know if he saw my profile, thought I was ugly. I don't know. I don't have my face on there, but I'm going to turn this on and just see if it works. It's got a 06, so the crystal matches up. I didn't think this thing was that old to have crystals, but maybe the battery's just that dead. I'm going to run on that. Dual motors, so it's dual proportion. There's no rudder. Just one motor spins faster than the other when you want to turn. And from what I've watched, that is actually a pretty good little setup on this boat. It's kind of nippy, but it's not the fastest thing in the world. I like that it's got little fans on here to cool the motors down. I think that's pretty interesting. That's definitely one way to do it. Okay, so I'm not totally sure what battery I'm going to run in this. Probably this one. I got a 2200 2S LiPo right here. I'm going to go and plug it in. Should work. See no reason. Yep, there we go. I'm glad it didn't work there because the propellers were laying on the ground, but why is it not working? Perhaps we have a issue with batteries? I don't know. Okay, so I took apart the speed controller, everything looks fine in there. I took apart the controller or transmitter, everything looks fine in there too. I think just something is kind of doing something funky in there, because I've looked on some forums of when these came out, and they said they're kind of just, hit and miss anyways. So that's okay. That just means I get to spend a whole lot more money on it, which, is fine with me, because I can put it on a transmitter that doesn't take 8 AA batteries. So yeah, I'm going to put this thing back in the box. I'm going to forget about it for a while, and then I'm going to go, I guess, pick this video back up at a later date. So I don't know what it's doing, but it just started doing it. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, the batteries are out of the transmitter. Okay, so I got the point. It told me don't leave me. So yeah, I'm not even kidding. I know I've got some cars that are kind of funky, that when you turn the transmitter off, most of them are fine, but some of them just go straight forward. Other than it scaring the crap out of me, it sounds pretty good. No, but I think I may be wrong. I think what that is like maybe like a fail-safe. Like if your transmitter battery dies right in the pond, it kind of does that till it's back. Maybe. Oh, let me turn that off. I think that's what that is. So it's getting signal that the transmitter's off, but not, Hold on, let me whip out the aerial real quick. That might be an issue. No, okay. Alright, welcome back to this video. For you, this is maybe a 10-20 minute long video. For me, this is currently, I'm not even exaggerating, this is about a year later from the last time, or the last clip you saw. I have no idea what the last clip was. However, I picked up these 2 Harbor Freight boats. Okay, so I'm going to pause right there. Yes, I said 2. Somewhere on my hard drive, there is a few clips where I actually continued this video a little bit more, because I actually ended up picking another one of these boats up that's identical to the one that I am working on now, but I cannot find those clips because, again, this video has taken me over a year. It's not taking me. I just got distracted with other stuff, and I'll explain that here in a second. Also, just a heads up, I know the mic sounds a little bit different. This is actually 2 different cameras. I've actually not noticed how much different the mic in the last camera and the mic in this camera sounds. So if you're the kind of person who gets bothered by that, which I kind of am because I've never noticed that before, sorry. You guys saw that, you watched up to this point, and this is the original boat that I started messing with. I'm pretty sure that I mentioned that I picked up another one that has the exact same issue, that being something going on with the transmitter. I could not get the transmitter to work. Actually, it does work, but it doesn't. It doesn't control the boat pretty much whatsoever. Since then, there's been about I'm not even exaggerating, actually I can go back on AliExpress. After I ended the last clip, I ordered a new ESC. I've since lost that ESC, and recently I have since found it. What made me want to get back into these boats is that it is boating season at the moment up at the pond. Starting to get good weather outside, you can actually stand to be outside. And we're wanting to take some boats up and probably drive it in about 2 days. And I started to mess with these boats again. I kind of got burnt out because I got 2 of the exact same boats and they both have the same issue. And I found that ESC that I ordered. So just to pick back up, these boats use 2 motors with no rudder or anything. You know what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like proportional. If you want to turn left, one motor turns faster than the other, then you know what I'm trying to say. I probably explained this a year ago. Here is the ESC that I picked up. It did not come in this fancy box. I have done this today to kind of somewhat waterproof it. I do have drain holes in the bottom in case water gets in here because you got wires sticking out the side. Not going to be 100% waterproof. However, I think this ESC is like $15 and it does work. I spent a little bit trying to figure out something on it, and then I'll explain that here in a second. Anyways, I'll put a picture up. I might put a link in the description of that ESC. It's kind of hard to find, kind of tank style ESCs that uses like 2 motors instead of a traditional steering servo. Kind of hard to find that. However, I ordered that off AliExpress. I lost it, I have since found it, and we are back on trying to fix these boats. So this does work. I'll show you that here in a second. I've actually got a person trying to show up for something on Facebook Marketplace. That's why I don't have this all hooked up. I gotta go meet him, like, probably right now. I'm gonna go meet that guy, and we can go more in depth on this ESC, and I can actually show you this boat working with my transmitter right there. It's pretty exciting. These two things have never worked. It is kind of crazy. I bought two of the exact same model, and they both have the same issue. However, these are like, I don't know how old they are, but they're pretty old, so it's not that surprising, I guess. Alright, I made my $15 whole from that Marketplace deal, and most importantly, I didn't die, which is always a case with Marketplace, where it's always a, something can always happen. Funny enough, there's actually helicopters circling around my neighborhood right now, because there's currently a manhunt for a dude who did some very bad things, and apparently, in my little old town, the FBI is here, and they're after the guy. Anyways, that's beyond the point. If I remember correctly, this is not the ESC that I wanted. There's a Hobbywing, I don't remember the name, that controls two motors just like this, and it works great. I have it in a Traxxas Villain. I wanted that one. I can't find it anywhere. I don't know if they make it. So this is just a AliExpress special. It feels pretty good quality. I don't think it's waterproof, which, if you're going to market something towards boats, I kind of wish it was waterproof, but it's not. So this little case right here, I pick these up all the time from Walmart. These push pins were actually in that case. So if you go to like the sewing section, you can get a case just like that full of miscellaneous stuff. In fact, here's one that I've picked up, probably going to use for a receiver at some point. That's not going to make it waterproof, but if some water tries to splash in there, hopefully it'll keep it off. Also, I'm going to try to find a way to elevate this thing where it's not just laying on the bottom where all the water is going to go if any gets in there. So this boat right here was set up a little bit differently than that ESC is set up. I tried to look it up. There's not a whole lot of information out there on those ESCs on how to like program them. Also, I have had really bad experiences trying to program brushless ESCs, so I'm not really trying to get into all that. How this boat was originally is one propeller turned this way and one turned that way. That way, if you goose the throttle, the boat just doesn't rock to one side or whatever. Not that these have that much power to do that. I forget, there's a word for it, but I forgot. That's how this boat was set up. This ESC is not set up to do that. Meaning, these props are wrong. One prop was turned one way, one prop was turned the other way, because that's how the boat was set up. I was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. I did some troubleshooting, thinking I could program that. I can't. I was like, I've got this other boat right here that I picked up on a Facebook auction page. I'm going to take some spare props, like that right there, out of it, and I'm going to put two of the right-handed sided props on it. Super easy. That's the easy fix for it. Just put the same prop on it, you're done. It was not that easy because, let me see if I can zoom in. Here is the thread on, I guess, the passenger side of the boat, the right side of the boat. You can see it's kind of a coarse thread pattern, So let's go over here. That is fine thread. Okay, sorry I'm being shaky. I'm just so excited to drive this boat. I'm just kidding. This is a heavy camera. They threaded these rods differently. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could have took this side out of the other boat and put over here. That would have been a whole lot easier than what I did, but I did it. But in the future, that might be what you want to do. So what I did to fix that, it sounds a whole lot easier than it actually was, because this is tiny and it's very somewhat brittle plastic. I looked through my miscellaneous hardware for like SEX24 crawlers and just miscellaneous RC stuff. I was actually able to find a bolt this thread pitch and size, and I was able to retap this prop right here. That sounds easy, but it was not, trust me. So now we have two right side props on this thing, that way they can spin both ways. Yes, technically, it's kind of hurting the performance of this boat because it's able to, when you goose the throttle, it's able to just do that now. I don't think these two 370 motors are going to have all that much power. It might surprise me, but I'm not too worried about that. So off camera, I'm going to situate everything in here, depending on where the battery needs to be. I guess I need to do a little bit of research on that. And I should probably go test if this thing still doesn't take on water. In fact, I don't think I ever tested that. And I guess if all that goes good, we can go ahead and test this boat out finally. Will it float?
I don't know.
No. turn right very good. I'm less than impressed with it. I think the balance of everything in there looks pretty good, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's full left. That's pretty good. And full right.
There's something wrong with full right, I believe. Why is it throwing up so much water behind it?
I don't know. Because it's a boat. Well, because when you go full left or full right, one propeller starts turning the wrong way to try to kick it around, which it right there it does good, but here it doesn't. It don't go.
Well, you're going backwards.
Oh, whoa.
I told you don't turn good right.
Yeah, but I was coming off of the throttle.
Yeah.
But
but it
turning.
Yeah, it turns
by
it turns by giving it throttle.
Okay. So if you want to stop, you got to let off everything.
Yeah, and then you better not turn. I was actually, since I have two of these boats, I was planning on keeping one kind of like how it was like this, and then putting a brushless setup with actual rudder in it. But this drives so terrible, I think I'm just gonna tear this one apart, put actual rudder and motor on it. Because I like being able to actually turn off throttle.
Yeah.
This is, I think there's a lot of tuning.
Well, wait a minute. So if you're turning hard right,
Yeah.
if you it turns okay as long as you ain't on throttle. As soon as I give it throttle, watch it.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It goes straight.
I think there is a lot of tuning that needs to happen with like the ESC and stuff.
Yeah, something's wonky.
Something's
here.
off with it. And it needs trimming, but you can't trim it because if you trim it all the way one way, which is what it needs, it kicks the throttle on. Or like one motor is always on. It's a pretty boat though.
As soon as you let off of it, it'll turn.
Yeah. Which may be how you're supposed to drive it, I don't know. Alright, since this one kind of sucks right now, I'm kind of planning in my head what I want to do to it in the future. We got this one at a hobby shop for cheap. We picked this one up for...
cheap is 80 bucks.
It was 80 bucks, but they're like double that new. So I consider that cheap, and it's pretty much brand new.
Said it'd been run one time, but it didn't have a battery.
Yeah, which these new come with like a NiCad, which are pretty much useless. And we got a LiPo on it. And it does float.
It floats.
Sounds like
like a Evan rig.
It sounds like a real boat.
Oh, that will turn.
Yeah. So this one turns because the prop actually turns. There's not a rudder on it.
Not a powerhouse.
Boy, it's brushed. It spins around though. Oh, that's not bad. It's faster than my boat. Oh, we're fixing to have to retreat because there's some storms moving in. This is a Traxxas Blast. I mentioned earlier that we picked this up for 80 bucks. This is probably going to go away because we're not overly impressed with how fast it is. Obviously, it's a brushed beginner boat, but I don't know. In many ways, this one's kind of more impressive, and it also sucks right now. Anyways, this boat, I'll probably do another update video in the future because I'm probably going to tear one of these apart and do away with the dual motor I'm just not. I mean, it's good for a cheap, like toy grade boat, but for what I'm wanting to do, I think I'm gonna rip them out. It's a good hole, it's a good size, and it's a really pretty boat. So I think, I don't know, I've got some ideas in my head of what I'm gonna do to this thing, or one of them. I may keep one dual motor because, again, I've got two of these. I just don't know yet. There's rocks right there. That's going to need to be able to be. That's going to need to get retrieved.
I guess if I drove it in the box, I'll do that.